All right, hello and welcome to Master the Art of Speaking. And today I'm going to be giving you a lot of knowledge and a lot of insights on how you can become an exceptional speaker. Correct? Now, after watching this video, will you just become an exceptional speaker? Absolutely not. You need to be able to implement these principles as well. Correct? So, obviously, there are other things that are attached to this, but you are most definitely going to get the knowledge that you require in order to become a really good speaker. Correct? So, I'll be talking about 4 things that you need to understand in order to improve your delivery tremendously. Correct? So basically there are basically 2 parts of, let's say, speaking, communicating. First is the content, the second is the delivery. Correct? And content, let's say for example, if you're running a business, content is like the idea, and the delivery is like the execution of that idea. So no matter how good the idea of a business is, until and unless the execution of that business is really well, that business is not going to work. Correct? But let's say the idea is mediocre and the execution of that idea is top notch, it's world class, then the business, there's a big chance it's going to be world class. And today we'll be talking about just that. We'll be talking about delivery. Correct? So without further ado, let's get started. And if you don't already know me, my name is Mohit Jagwani. I'm one of India's top speakers. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a life coach. And my goal with this channel is to help you build a better life. And if that sounds interesting, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, let's get started. The first thing you need to understand is that there are 4 tools that you have as a speaker. And the first tool is volume. Your volume is basically, it's pretty simple. You already know what I'm trying to say. Your volume is how loud or how softly you speak. Correct? So that is volume. The second tool you have as a speaker is your pace. Your pace is how fast you speak or how slow you speak. Correct? So that is the second tool. The third tool you have as a speaker is your pitch. Do you have a very high pitch or do you have a low pitch? Correct? So that is the third tool you have. And the fourth tool is your tone. Correct? Now, what is a lot of the times people get confused between pitch and tone. So tone is in a way accompanied by your expressions as well. For example, hi, how are you? Right now, this is high pitched and comforting tone. Like, so generally people in, let's say, South Bombay, metropolitan cities, women specifically that are very friendly, they speak in this tone. Hi, how are you? So good to see you. Correct? High pitch, right? Very comforting to them, very friendly. The complete opposite of this pitch, right? Deep pitch and, authoritative tone. Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Correct? So this was deep pitched and authoritative. Correct? So that is what happens when you use your pitch and tone effectively. Now, I feel like you still need to understand it a little bit more. So let me explain it further. So pitch is like, hi. Oh, hello, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Oh, hello, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Correct? Now, the volume was the same. The speed was the same. The only difference was pitch. Correct? Tone was the same. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Right? And now if I were to, let's say, keep the pitch same and change the difference. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Correct? Now the pitch was the same, but you felt the difference in tone. Correct? The pitch was deep, low, and the tone in the first one was authoritative. Hi, how are you? Right? Now still deep pitch, but again, while having this deep pitch, I was having an authoritative tone. Hi, how are you? Right? Now again, deep pitch, but more, let's say, elongating the wobble. So that's tone. Okay? So these are the 4 tools you have as a speaker, and we'll be building more upon these as we move further. How are you supposed to use this? I'll be talking about that in the ranges segment, which is the next segment. Correct? So now let's talk about the ranges of voice. So after you understand the tools, the way we are supposed to utilize those tools comes under ranges, and there are 3 ranges that we possess. The first range is visual range. In visual range, you have high volume, correct, and you have high pace. And you can also say high tone, but that's not necessarily. For example, right now, right, I'm being very visual while having a deep pitch, but it's not sounding as good, correct? Now let me experiment it just so that you understand it a bit better. Now I have a very, let's say, visual way of speaking. Now I'm very loud, I'm very fast, and I have a lot of energy. This is visual, correct? Now the second tone that you need to understand is kinesthetic. Kinesthetic tone is the tone in which you are in complete control, you are calm, you are composed. People that meditate, guided meditations, they are generally done in a tone that's very kinesthetic, very calm, very composed. It in a way grounds you. And the third tone is auditory. In auditory, I'm not visual, I'm not kinesthetic, I'm just speaking in a monotone. It's not as interesting as it used to be. So this is basically an auditory tone. It's monotonous, very monotonous sometimes. Correct? So these are the three ranges you have. Now, how are you supposed to apply these ranges? Now, anytime you want to convey an emotion that has a lot of energy, go visual. For example, anger. Now, anger, when it's not controlled, has a lot of visual, has a lot of energy behind it. So, what can I do? What's your problem, man? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Correct? Now, this was angry. Mind your own business. Okay, I'm not here to discuss some random stuff with you. My time is valuable. Okay, don't waste my time. Correct? Visual, high energy. Right? Now, let's say the same thing. I can convey anger in a kinesthetic way as well. Correct? But before I dive into that, let me just uh, exude the right emotion to be kinesthetic. Now, I want you to gently close your eyes. And I want you to feel your lips. Just visualize and feel your lips. Correct? So this was kinesthetic. You get the point. Kinesthetic tone is very calm, very composed. Let's say I'm doing a guided meditation. I basically do guided meditations as well, correct? That is when I operate in the kinesthetic range, right? And kinesthetic range helps in calming people down, and it makes you appear someone that's very much in control and connected with their emotions. And you can, sure, meditative state, but I can be angry and kinesthetic as well. That is not okay. I understand where you are coming from, but I will not let you treat me like this. Correct? So now you know that I'm not happy, you know that I'm upset, but you also know that I'm in complete control of my emotions. That's kinesthetic. Whenever you want to appear as if you are in control, you are calm, you are composed, you can use the kinesthetic tone. And the auditory tone can be used for transitions. You're not having a lot of high energy emotion. You're not having very calm, composed, deep emotion. Auditory is when you are in the middle. Correct? So let's say you're transitioning between one part of the speech and another part of the speech. That is when you can be auditory. For example, right now I'm not very visual, but neither am I kinesthetic. While I'm in the middle, I'm being auditory relatively. Correct? I never speak in a complete monotone because I've grown out of it in a way. So that is how you can utilize these three ranges. Visual, very high energy. Kinesthetic, very calm and composed energy. Monotonous, auditory, you speak in a way that's not visual, not kinesthetic, in a monotone. Correct? So these are the three ranges, and you know when are you supposed to apply these ranges. Now let's talk about body language. So your hands play a very crucial role when it comes to conveying your message. For example, now throughout this entire segment, throughout while recording this video, I was using my hands a lot. Now I'm not using them. How do you feel? Do you feel that you feel less engaged? Do you feel like it's not as interesting as it used to be? Correct? Now it's not like I'm less or more funny. It's not, I am still capable of completely modulating my voice really well. I can go really high right now as well, and I can go super kinesthetic as well. correct? But for some reason, you just feel it's not the same as before. Why? Because my body language was not as involved in the previous segment. Now it is. So now you feel that, okay, this is more engaging. You feel more connected for some reason. So that is what body language does. Body language adds more engagement to whatever you are conveying, whatever you are communicating. Correct? And to have a more confident body language, just keep in mind that so whatever your hands, the way you position your hands is very important. For example, right now, right? If I have my hands folded, I appear very, let's say, closed off. But as soon as I open, I appear more confident. Correct? And you want to pay more attention when I'm using my body language and hands in this manner as compared to, let's say, when I'm using it in this manner. Now again, I can still use my body language, but it's not going to be as engaging. Correct? But as soon as I have it open, now it's more engaging. Now I have this entire space that I can occupy. Correct? So that is something that you need to keep in mind, and not just ensure while public speaking as well, but let's say even you're sitting across someone and you're speaking to them. Now when you have this closed off body language, or when you're just, you have your hands like this, right? You're not as confident. But as soon as you just have this separation, it's not tucked in, it's in a way spread out. Now your confidence, you appear much more confident. Why? Because confidence occupies space. Right? When you show that, okay, you are comfortable in occupying that space, you appear more confident. Now again, this, apply it in public speaking scenarios, sure. When you're doing one-to-one meetings, apply this, sure. But don't apply it in congested places that, oh, you know what, this place is very congested, you didn't train and you're trying to occupy a lot of space. No, that's just disrespectful. Okay, so be mindful, be appropriate. Don't just utilize this anywhere and everywhere. Sure, definitely when you are conversing on a one-on-one basis, occupy space, right, in the right manner. Now again, there are exceptions, not exceptions, but there are intricacies to this as well. For example, now right now, if I just, you're in a space and you put your hands on it, right? For example, if I just, I do this, it's dude, sure, I'm occupying a lot of space, but it looks so ugly. Correct? And in this scenario specifically, sometimes you might feel that it's very confident, but otherwise I would not do that. Correct? So sure, there is a spectrum. If you the smaller is the space that you occupy, the less confident you appear. The wider the space you occupy, so that's underconfidence, overconfidence. The more space you occupy, the more you move along this spectrum. So stay at just the right spot. Don't occupy so much space that you appear overconfident. Don't do that. That's not the right way to do it. And when I say occupying space, I specifically mean in this domain. Correct? This, sure. But when you occupy space in, let's say, the horizontal plane, that is when you appear more confident in a way. Correct? So that is something that you need to keep in mind. Do not keep your hands tucked to your body. Have it at a 45 degree. Now this is, in a way, for example, this is, if I'm giving a speech and I'm very motivating, sure. But otherwise, in regular conversation, if I'm speaking like this, I look stupid. What am I doing? What am I? Who's the Captain America guy, the new one? Eagle or something? Basically, you get the point, right? I'm not that person. Okay? Correct? So this is not necessary, right? So be mindful. Have it, let's say this is 45 degree. You can have it at 30 degrees, 45 degrees. This is the most comfortable feeling, in my opinion, right? Essentially, you should feel comfortable. There is an armrest beside me. I feel very comfortable doing this. It's not a problem at all. Even if the armrest was not there, let's say I'm not using the armrest, then even then this is comfortable. Correct? With the armrest, sure, I get to rest it, so I can keep it a little more broad, right? So this is body language. Now, I'll be talking about inflection. Correct? So what is inflection? Now, inflection, the way you inflect your voice, in a way depicts your personality to a very huge extent. For example, now let's say if I want to make someone very comfortable, hey man, how are you? Correct? Good to see you. How have you been? So this is upward inflection. When I speak in this tone, I want to make the other person comfortable. Correct? Now there's downward inflection as well. In downward inflection, I want to appear authoritative. Hi, how are you? I'm good. Please have a seat. Correct? Now I'm authoritative. Hi. I'm not like, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Correct? The expression, all of that. So downward inflection makes me look authoritative. So there's this scale of approachability and authoritativeness. correct? So the more I go towards the inflection side, hi, how are you? It's so good to see you, man. I elongate my vowels and I speak in a high pitch. The more approachable I appear. But I want to appear authoritative. Hi, how are you? Yes, good to see you. Have a seat. Correct? Now this is authoritative. Downward inflecting voice while having a deep pitch, not elongating my vowels, cutting them short. It means I'm conveying the message that, okay, I'm here for business, I'm not here for fun. Correct? So these are the 4 things. I hope you understood 4 tools of a speaker, 3 ranges of a voice, body language, voice inflection. And now if I were to just, let's say, recommend some guidelines to you, just let me tell you this, watching this video is not enough. Okay, so there are levels of competence. Right now, sure, you understood this. Now you know that you right now will not be able to implement this at will. Right now I am in a space, correct, I have achieved enough mastery to implement this without even thinking about it. Why? Because I'm at the 4th level of competence. So there are 4 levels of competence. Level 1 is unconscious incompetence. You don't know that you are not good at something. For example, before watching this video, you did not know that this is how this functions. So you did not know that you were incompetent at this. Correct? The next level is conscious incompetence. Now that you know that these are the principles, these are the tools, techniques that go into speakings and speaking well, you know that this is something you need to learn. So this is conscious incompetence. And when you try this, correct, then you'll realize that, okay, it is possible. And when you are conscious about this, then you'll be able to do it. So that is the 3rd level, that is conscious competence. Correct? And you need to operate in this level on a very regular basis. Be very conscious about it for some time. Let's say for 20-25 days. And that is when you take it to a level higher. That is the 4th level. That is unconscious competence. You don't even have to think about it and you'll become conscious at it. Correct? So definitely you can do this yourself as well by recording and practicing. But let's say if you'd require my help, correct, you could use my help as well, and the details are going to be somewhere on your screen, and you could get coached by me as well. So that is something that I wanted to convey. But again, that's not compulsory at all. It's 100% up to you. You can record it and that works as well. It takes more time, but you can do it. Correct? So these are the 4 things that I wanted to share with you. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like more content that is going to help you become a better version of yourself and help you build a better life, hit the subscribe button and check out the description to, let's say, get some more free resources. And that's all from my end. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Cheers. Take care.